Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. My dear respected brothers and sisters, sometimes involvement of many different activities in this world, we hardly recognize the time, the existence of the time, and how time is passing very fast, until sometimes a major event occurs in our life. You know, baby is born. Now the baby is in that age that now the child is in that age, and now you're finding a suitable partner for him or her. And then marriage happens, then their baby comes, Allah gives them the baby, their child, and then all of a sudden you see white hair coming, gray hair, and then at that time we think that, where did the time go? Very fast, blinking of an eye. Just like they mentioned that as if you just pass a door, one room to another room. You just got in between that door and you will come into another room. That's that much how much you're going to look back and say that this is how fast the life has went. So even though we become so old, but our hearts are still young. So there's a hadith which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Inna akhwafa ma atakhawwafu ala ummati." That indeed the thing that I fear most for my ummah, there are two things that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned in this hadith. Two things. Because we all know that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not living here in this world forever, right? And he said that I have two fears that my ummah will be involved in when I leave this world. And the first thing that he mentioned is al-hawa, following their unlawful desires. Their desires are two types, right? My desire is for going umrah, for hajj, so that's a good desire. But the desires that are unlawful, right? Those desires that you do and then you know that you have committed something wrong. And number two is tulul amal, hope for a distant future, planning for a distant future. So then he further said, فَأَمَّا الْهَوَىٰ فَيَصُدَّ عَنِ الْحَقِّ. As for the unlawful desires, it is going to prevent you from the truth. Because you want to follow your own desires, the truth will be right in front of you. You can see, you know you have the knowledge, you believe you have the knowledge, you see it, you hear it, right? You can explain it as well. You can do so much with it, but you will not follow it. The desires will take over. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about the hawa, about the unlawful desires, فَيَصُدَّ عَنِ الْحَقِّ. It will prevent a person to follow the truth. The desires will prevent the person. Because as I said, being a Muslim, you might believe, you might know the knowledge of it, the importance of it, the merits of it, the value of it, but it will prevent you. You know, sometimes we see a doctor a lung specialist. He looks into the lungs and he knows that how much danger smoking is. If you smoke, you're a chain smoker and you're smoking a lot, it affects the lungs. We know this. And then a doctor who specializes in lungs, and he's day by day sees so many patients, and the main cause of lung diseases are, in a number of these are, do you smoke? And some say, yeah, most of the time, yes, I'm a smoker. But the same doctor, he's smoking. The lung specialist, he smokes. And then he's looking into the x-rays and all these tests that has been done. And then he's stopping, but he knows, he has the knowledge. Right? He knows the danger of smoking that can harm the lungs. But the doctor still smokes, he's smoking. Who can be more convinced the harms associated with smoking? Who can be more convinced? Who can be more knowledgeable than me and you? A lung specialist. There might be other causes, of course. I'm not saying it is only because of smoking. There are so many people who don't smoke, but they have that problem with lungs. It is not associated only with smoking. Yet still, that doctor who is a specialist of lung, he's also smoking. He's in the habit of it. And the same thing goes with alcohol. As Muslims, we know it is haram, it is prohibited. But of course, when things are prohibited, Allah has prohibited things for us to eat or drink, to consume, there must be something wrong with it. Not only spiritually, but physically, it is something wrong. So the knowledge is there. What's the harm of intoxication, of alcohol? The knowledge is there. Certainty is there that it causes harm. Yet still, their desires, they take them, they drink them. And they cannot put it aside. So let's take the same principle as an example. And this is what exactly Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. That this is my fear for my ummah. Right? But فَيَصُدَّ عَنِ الْحَقِّ. Al-hawa, that's the first fear about the unlawful desires, that these desires were overcome. And Rasulullah, and then, because they know, let's take this example as I said, that we know that we have to pray, there are 5 times daily prayers, no one refutes it, no one denies it. But the games are more important, matches are more important, our work is more important, job is more important, our business is more important. I fear that I will lose customers. But if we ask, we have a lot of knowledge of Salah. We know it is first for the Muslims. They might, if I ask one, a brother or sister, tell me some importance of Salah, they might give me 2-3 points. They know. Everyone knows as a Muslim. But the unlawful desires overcome. And that is why we miss so many prayers in our life. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, he did not say ilm is the fear of my ummah, the knowledge. No, not everyone has knowledge. My fear is that they are going to follow their desires. Their desires are going to ruin them. This is what the fear is. Instead of following what Allah has said, or Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if when my desire comes, I will follow that and I will leave out aside the commandments of Allah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We might have wealth. We might be spending wealth right and left. But when it comes to yearly 2.2% of zakat, that will be a burden upon us. When a time comes that if a poor, needy is in help, giving them some out, that will be a burden upon us. We will think that how much is there in my pocket, even though I have plenty. But when it comes to worldly things, I can buy a TV for $2,000 or $3,000 without thinking. But why? Because it has good reviews on Google. This is the best one. I'll take this. Not even thinking it's 2,000, 3,000. I will buy a smart fridge. Nowadays we have smart fridges. How many they cost? $5,000, $8,000. But I want one. And without any, I'll just look into the reviews and okay, how this? The best reviews is 2,000, 5,000 reviews, I'll buy it. But when it comes to 2.5% of our savings per year, and then I have to take out very minor money to give out for zakat, that'll be a burden. People travel all over the world, going on cruise vacations, going on vacation, different countries, this. No problem, enjoy. Allah has given, alhamdulillah. When it comes to Hajj, I'm not talking about Umrah. Umrah is nafal anyways. Hajj. And they have the means, they have all the means, all the conditions apply to them to go for Hajj. They have wealth enough, plenty wealth, they have their health, no problem. But when it comes to Hajj, they have 10 excuses. But if you look at them, yearly they're going somewhere. Or maybe every 2 years they're going somewhere. They travel here and there with families. But when it comes to Hajj, oh no, I have this to do, I have that to do. Let me do this first, let me do that first, then I will go. Some people are in delusion that I will go when I'm retired. How do you know you'll be living at that till you're retired? We don't know about in the evening today that I'm going to live or not, and you're thinking about after retirement, after 10 years, 20 years, 25 years. Let's say you live till retirement. How do you know that your health will permit or not? Are you healthy enough or not to go? So number one, brothers and sisters, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam feared about two things. Number one was hawa, the unlawful desires that will overcome everything. Why? فَأَمَّا الْهَوَى فَيُصُدَّ عَنِ الْحَقِّ. Because this hawa, this unlawful desires will prevent you of the truth. And I gave some examples, we can understand. Number two, طُولُ الْأَمَلِ. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, hope for a distant future. Every person plans for the future. Why is that? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was afraid of planning for the future. There's nothing wrong. This is Okay, we plan. So in that way, then we can say, you know what, then to plan for Hajj is going to be wrong then. So planning for the future means is that postponing the obedience of Allah. As I gave you an example of Hajj. When Hajj is farz right now, you have the means, you can go this year, for example, but you keep on postponing it for no genuine excuse, a shari'i excuse you have. But you have other plans. They will always have hope inside them that I will see tomorrow, okay, next month, okay, next year, maybe after 2 years, maybe after 3 years. Keep on postponing the responsibility that Allah has given you. I'm still young, I have to get married, I have daughters, I have sons, I have to get them married, they're in college. So all these postponing, when it is first today, it might be not first tomorrow. But the problem is, we do make plans for this dunya, and then we achieve it. Sometimes we do, sometimes, but most of the time we do. Allah is so generous. He said, keep on achieving dunya, no problem. But what happens is that the obedience of Allah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stays the same level. This is the problem. We don't exceed in that. We might exceed in this dunya of the whatever we are living in. Maybe today we were in a 2-bedroom apartment of a flat. Now alhamdulillah, I have a house with 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom. Before I used to drive a used car. Now I have a brand new car. So we had plans. We accumulated money to fulfill our desires, and there's nothing wrong. But once our obedience of Allah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stays the same as we were 5 years back, 10 years back, 20 years back, 30 years back, then this is where the problem comes. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about why, that I'm mentioning the reason that why our obedience stays the same, doesn't grow. We don't grow in our spiritual activities. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, وَأَمَّا طُولُ الْأَمَلِ فَيُنْسَى الْآخِرَةِ. As for the distance, future planning, causes to forget the hereafter. We are so much involved in planning in this life that I have to do this after 5 years. I want to see myself after 10 years in this position. I want to do this, I want to do that. We are so much involved in this planning of this dunya, we forget about the akhirah that hereafter is coming. وَأَمَّا طُولُ الْأَمَلِ فَيُنْسَى الْآخِرَةِ. We forget that there will be an akhirah, we forget that we are going to be standing before Allah. And because of that, we cannot exceed in spirituality. We stay in that level, whatever level we were before. And then, إِنَّ هَذَا الدُّنْيَا مُرْتَحِلَةٌ ذَاهِبَةٌ. He further says that we are travelers of this dunya, of this world. And إِنَّ هَذَا الدُّنْيا مُرْتَحِلَةٌ ذَاهِبَةٌ. That this part of this journey we started murtahilatun dhahiba, coming far back. We're leaving, and this life is going so back from us. You start your journey from your house, and you want to go where? New York. So the more you're towards New York, your destination, the more your house is further and further away from you. This is what is inna hada dunya The journey that we have started, murtahilatun dhahibatun, is going way further than us. And then he says, وَإِنَّ هَذِهِ الْآخِرَةِ مُرْتَحِلَةٌ قَادِمَةٌ. And the akhirah, the hereafter, our destination is more closer. Right? Yes. And then he further says, as for these abodes, this life and the hereafter, there are people who love this earthly life, and there are people who love the life of the hereafter. There are two groups. There are people who do not want to leave this world, and there are people who are waiting to leave this world so they can meet their Khaliq. Our vision should be for the hereafter, brothers and sisters. Planning for the future of our betterment, for the betterment of our children. There's nothing wrong in that. It is good. But because of the pursuit of this life, we forget the akhirah, the hereafter, then there's a problem. We need to think about it. Let's say last year, 2 years back, 3 years back, 5 years back, am I better in spirituality or not? Think, you know yourself better. I cannot ask someone else about you. The question is, you know the answer. Compare of your worldly life and whatever you have prepared for the akhirah. Because this world is la hisab. There is no accountability here. This is darul amal. This is a place where we're going to practice and do actions. But the akhirah, hisab. There will be accountability. And there will be la amal. There will be no actions. If I say, okay, you know what? Hold on. Don't do anything. Let me do some 2 rakat prayer. Let me do this. Let me do that. In the akhirah, la amal. No actions. So here we have to do some actions for our betterment of the akhirah. We have to take some steps. Yes, we have to live in this world. Whatever necessities and whatever means it is, yes, we have to take. But pursuing this life or betterment of our future, of our children's future, don't forget there's a life after this. And if you forget the akhirah, la amal. You will not do much for the akhirah. Because you'll be so much involved and so much into this life, in this world, you will not have time. And you know, I say this many times, that those who do not have time, listen to this very carefully, those who do not have time to pray, those who do not have time to do any good deeds in this life, they're just running towards dunya, dunya, dunya. This is also one of the punishments of Allah. That Allah is not giving you the tawfiq and ability to pray in front of Him, to be in front of Him. Allah is not giving you the tawfiq to give some sadaqat in the path of Allah or to help others. You're not doing anything. This is one of the form of punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is not you that your effort that you coming here for Jummah. No, it's not. Tawfiq of Allah. That's it. So brothers and sisters, as long as we are here in this life, la hisab, no accountability. But amal. Do actions, do good deeds as much as you can. If we develop this attitude to do good deeds and to be obedient to Allah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we're successful. We should all be looking to improve ourselves. Not about dunya, but the akhirah. If you are better Muslim, you will be a better human being. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah. Allah